Hello, 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 hello. Hi guys, how are you guys doing? This is Debbie from Teacher Success Coach. It's been a while since I came on, since I've been on rather. I've had 2.5, 2 weeks off and one day, and I just spent the time in my bed resting. I didn't realize how exhausted I have been. So that's what I spent my 2 weeks doing. I did 3 days intervention. So I had to go into school for 3 days. Intervention and marking. I did that last week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And the first week we broke up, I just spent the time sleeping. I was so exhausted. So we've been back today, and it's just interesting going back. Today was training session, so we did training and planning. So that's what I did today. With my department, we had some training and then we plan, because the next term is revision and students are doing exams, because this is the first time some students have been doing exams because they've not done any exams at all. So for some of them it's quite challenging and stressful, because I went into my email I looked at my email last night for the first time since I've been off, and I see a pile of students send me essays for me to look at. Sorry, I don't look at work when I'm at home. I didn't even bother to look at it. When I went in today, I started looking at it, so I'll be giving it my attention tomorrow. Because at home, one of the things I've said to everybody, when you're at home, you do not do any work at home. Home is for you. Home is for self-love and self-care. As far as possible, avoid doing any work at home. Anyway, what am I grateful for today? Well, for the last 2 weeks, I've been very grateful for my bed, because my bed have been serving me well. The first week, it served me so well, I didn't want to get out of it because I was so exhausted, and I was loving it because I don't spend a lot of time in my bed. So that's what I was grateful for, and I'm still are. I'm also grateful for life, and I'm also grateful, one part of me, for going back into schools today, because it means that I now have the opportunity to plan my lessons, to plan my revision, to get out of my student the best I can, and enable them to see everything is possible. Yes, some of them may not have done very well in the mock exams, but that doesn't say they cannot do well in the real exams. So one of my goals is to empower them, that in spite of what you got for the mock exam, you need to have a look at, okay, what you are now able to do for the real exam. So put the mock exam behind you and just start focusing and believing in yourself that you could get a lot better in the real exam than you did in the mock exam. So that's one of the things I'm grateful for going back and start doing my planning and empowering my students and enabling them to believe in themselves. They come back tomorrow, and tomorrow is one of those days I have a full day teaching. Plus, I'm doing school duty, lunch duty. So in terms of all of that, I'm hands-on tomorrow, real hands-on, all hands on deck, you know. So it's going to be a really, interesting day as well as hectic day. So what are you grateful for today, people? And what's your win? One of my wins is, going back to school. It was lovely. Yes, there's a lot of things we have to do this term, because it's students are doing exam, and I think it's a shorter term as well anyway. And the pressure is on, because as well as preparing students for exams, we also have students that we also preparing for mocks as well. So that's one of the things. It's going to be tough, but it's going to be, enjoyable, because as an educator, you're looking at where the students have come from and where they're at right now. So that's also nice for us as educators to see the product, of what you actually doing, in terms of, if you look at the student as being, you're planting the seed and just look at how it is blossoming, etc. It's not always easy because there's sometimes you have to give it a lot more water and a lot more plant food than you would normally do. But in the end of it, you're actually seeing the product. So it's really, really good. Because from time to time, you kind of meet some students in the supermarket. Because last weekend I met one of my ex-students in the supermarket. I didn't recognize the student because there's sometimes you don't even recognize your student. Is when they call you out and say, "Oh, Miss," and I think, "Oh God." When some students say to you, "Miss," oh my goodness. When someone say "Miss," oh my goodness, is a student. When someone call you, thinking, "Oh yes." And then, I standing there looking at the student, blank face, and she said, "Don't you remember me?" And I said, "No, I don't." And then she proceeded to tell me, what I taught her, etc. And she's grateful that, I had supported her, etc., etc. So I said to her, "Wow, that's fantastic. So I did a fantastic job. My job is done. Well done." Because she's now a nurse, etc., etc. So it's quite nice when when you meet your students, your ex-student, and you have all these success stories. Them telling you how much they disliked you when when you started teaching them, but halfway through they realized that, what you were doing was for their benefit, etc. Yeah, my thing to students is I'm not here for you to like me. I'm here to make sure that you get what you're coming to get. So it's been, it's been a fantastic session for me. And tomorrow is going to be even more challenging the whole week because I've got lunch duty every day this week. A short week, but every day I have lunch duty. So it's either I'm outside, in the playground, inside, by the stairs, you name it. It's interesting because you really do get to know the students that you don't teach. So it's quite nice. Whereas, most of your students you would know because you teach them. But when you're actually doing, lunch duty, you get to really know a lot more students because you're out on the playground with them, you're interacting with them, etc. So that aspect is quite nice, getting to know a lot of the students in terms of seeing how they operate, etc. And even though your students you teach, you are in the classroom with them, you actually see them outside interacting, so you actually see a different side of them. So that's quite a nice aspect, but it's also quite tiring when you have to do it 4 days. For me, it's 4 days a week this week. Some days it's 5 days a week. Before we broke up, I was having it 5 days a week. It's lovely, but it's also tiring. Anyway, I want you guys to identify what's your win. What's your win for today? Remember, in every situation, it doesn't matter how negative it is or how challenging it is, there's always a win. There's always something to celebrate. And for me, I'm celebrating the fact that I'm back to school, and I'm celebrating the other factor is I am planning my revision with my students, getting them prepared for exams, and just seeing how they blossom in terms of their revision process and getting them to teach what they know. For example, giving them all an exam question, so they actually have to learn the exam question to teach it to the rest of the peers. So when you're actually seeing them teaching it and getting questions and responding, whoa, they've actually understood the topic. So that's what I'm looking forward to for the next few weeks, because I think we've got about 7 or 8 weeks, all together. So it's going to be intense, but it's going to be fun. Anyway, guys, identify what your win is or wins are, whatever more than win or more than one, and identify what you're grateful for. Celebrate it, because it's important that we celebrate all the time and do a celebration dance, because the fact that you're alive, you have gained opportunity and experience, those are things to be celebrated. Anyway, guys, I've got to go and prepare my lessons. Take care, stay blessed, have a fantastic, fantastic evening, night, morning, where you are. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.